Kutztown Live. Kutztown University Campus's campus and community interest radio magazine. You can call Kutztown Live at 610-683-4859. And now, your host for Kutztown Live, Juliana Jablonski.
Good afternoon and welcome to Kutztown Live, Kutztown University's campus and community talk show. I'm your host, Juliana Jablonski, and we for sure have quite a filled show for you all this afternoon. Joining us first is Lori Donofrio-Galley from the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, and she brought along with her a special guest today, Alyse Mitten from Interlace Communications. And then later on, we will hear interviews from the Shoofly Literary Magazine, the Keystone newspaper, and Pat Garrett. Here with us now is Lori Donofrio-Galley and Alyse Mitten. Hello and welcome, you two.
Thank you very much, Juliana. I'm so pleased to be here and see you for the first time since summer break.
I know, it's been a while. Did you do these over the summer, I think I saw?
We did. We brought in a business guest, once each month, and we worked with Mike Regensburger, which is always a great experience. And we're very pleased to have Alyse Mitten with us today. Before we get started with our interview with Alyse, I want to bring you up to date on some of our fall happenings at the Chamber. This Thursday, the 14th, from 4:30 to 6, right here in Kutztown, we will be visiting Debbie Berger from Hostal Custom Embroidery, Silk Screening, and Promotional Items. She has an embroidery shop right here in Kutztown, and she will be hosting a mixer. That information and all of our event information can be found at northeastberkschamber.com. This Friday, our monthly schedule of chamber breakfast meetings will begin on the 15th with our legislative update, and David Argel will be our presenter, and one of our nonprofits will do a presentation, Missionary Sisters of the Most Sacred Heart, from Muhlenberg Township. And again, that information can be found on our website, and you can still register tomorrow for the breakfast. In October, we will be hearing from Richard Plinke, whose business is called How to Sell the Plague, And on November 17th, the Pennsylvania Foundation for Free Enterprise Education will have presenter Ken Snyder and some students from Berks County talking about that program. We're very pleased to say that, again, for a third consecutive year, Kutztown University, Kutztown University Foundation, and the Rotary Club of Hamburg are the sponsors of our student education program, which is part of our breakfast meetings. Two other quick items. For the very first time, the Chamber will be hosting a virtual networking event. This is very exciting, and this will be happening on Monday, October 9th at 12 noon. Again, you can register through our website, and we will have a speaker. Her name is Linda Reed Friedman from Advanta Strategies, and she will be doing a presentation on perfecting your pitch, and this will be sponsored by one of our members, Jennifer Brown Wegman of Insight Information Solutions. So again, that's coming up, first ever virtual networking event. And as we get into introducing our friend Alyse today, I want to mention that we are involved as a participant and helping to organize an event called Evolve Her. Alyse is not only the owner of Interlace Communications, but she will soon be the president of the Berks Schuylkill SCORE chapter, and she's been actively involved in organizing this event. Alyse, why don't you tell us a little bit about Evolve Her? And I know there's still a few days left to register.
Yes. This is so timely because, hello, by the way, and thank you for having me.
Welcome. We're glad to have you.
Okay. What Evolve Her is going to be a women's event, and yes, men are allowed to come too. And it is to help inspire and help women-owned businesses to work on building their business and evolving their business. We have two keynote speakers that will be joining us. One is Joellen Rickenbach from Select Sales. She's going to be doing Growing Your Small Business, Harvest Some New Ideas. And the Harvest Some New Ideas comes because we're at Felino's. We might be harvesting some grapes. Right. And Susan, I
Alyse Schmidt.
Alyse Schmidt from Susan Communications Group. She's going to be speaking on who runs the world, digitally savvy women and entrepreneurs. And those are going to be our keynote speakers. And then along with that, because we know we all want to share and learn, during our luncheon, instead of just sitting there and chit-chatting with the person next to you, we are actually having themed tables. So if you're seated at a table and you want to talk about human resources, we have that. We have finances. We have marketing strategies. We have social media strategies. And I happen to do the tabulations, and social media is like top of the list
I'm sure
as far as what the interest is to discuss during our luncheon.
Well, I'm thrilled then to be the moderator
Yes,
for
you
a
are.
panel discussion on marketing.
Yeah.
And Alyse, you'll be one of our expert panelists.
Absolutely.
And what is the date for this event again?
It's September 21st.
That would help, huh?
Yes,
coming up.
thank you for reminding us. September 21st, 8:30 to 2:30 at Foligno Estate and Vineyard here in the Kutztown area. And as I said, we have about 2 days left for registrations. And you can contact me at ldg@northeastberkschamber.com. We also have it out on social media. Alyse does also. And there is a registration link, and it's $40 for that program, which includes your breakfast, lunch, and of course all that expert information that will be shared with you. Very happy to introduce Alyse Mitten. She's a very engaged member of our chamber. She's on the board. Last year she was the 2016 Member of the Year. She was awarded
Nice.
that recognition during our Shining Star event, which is coming up again this year on September 28th. So I'm very pleased to bring Alyse with me today. She's very active and involved, and she runs a very successful business. So Alyse, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started, and what you do?
Okay. Interlaced Communications is a business that helps small to mid-sized businesses locally with social media marketing as well as print marketing. Along with that, what has been my background has been in print all my life, and I actually help businesses across the United States to market their businesses to a large area of print publications, shoppers' guides, and community papers that print is not dead. And they advertise on a weekly basis through print. As far as working with the small businesses and mid-sized businesses in the local areas, my background, because of being a graphic designer and building websites since 1994, it is a natural for me to be able to help businesses build their websites first. But for us, we focus on marketing. As soon as we're working with a small business, we want to market through that website, because it's one of those things with websites is you build it and they'll come. No, you've got to give it an engine to drive people there. So we do that through social media marketing, through email marketing, and through doing what's called search engine optimization, making sure the right keywords are in place so that when a person does the search, they're going to find the websites. So that's what we do.
Okay.
Alyse, what do you find are some of the top challenges faced by small businesses when it comes to marketing their business, whether it's social media or email marketing? What are maybe the top one or two challenges?
They stop too soon. It is about being out there week after week after week. And they think in print, if a person comes to me and says, I want to run an ad to see how it works, my answer to them is, it won't work. I will take their budget and say, let's run an 8 to 12 week program, because it's human nature that you have some people that will respond the first week because they want whatever that product or service is right away, and they trust from that advertisement that it's there. Others want to see that ad and sort of learn about that business through their website, through whatever means, before they make that choice to buy. So that's part of the problem, is they don't have that repetition. And we have a program that actually came about because a client said to us, "Oh, you're doing blogs and you're doing this, and I just want one bill once a month from you for everything that you're doing." So we have what's called Pick Your Own Marketing Plan. It is like so nice. They can choose what they want.
It's a custom campaign, right?
Yes, yes. And what it does is it provides them with a way to tell us what they want to do, but it kind of, I don't want to say buttonholes, but makes them think about their marketing and that it is a monthly program. And so we can keep that flow going. And what we find is when we have businesses that are doing that, they don't want to stop because it's working. So.
Okay. And you're the owner of Interlace Communications,
Yes.
did you say? And how did you come up with the whole idea of making this a business?
It was way back in '94 when, I was working with the executive director for an association, and he passed away suddenly. And I was his backup. And what I did was continue to do the classified program that was in place. And it became, the association said to me, "Do you want the job?" So I always say the most important dance was with a lawyer who told me to incorporate when I was just one person. So I incorporated right away and became Interlace Communications because interlace means intricate weaving. And I've been serving as their executive director for 23 years. And it really wasn't until I became locally known that anybody even knew Interlace Communications existed. Because it was kind of behind the scenes doing the day-to-day operations for them, and that was it. For 20 of the 20, we're going on 23 years of my business, we have been a home-based business. Okay. And I was interviewed by the Reading Eagle, and the interviewer thought it was really cool what had happened. I was at home, and of course my children are getting off the bus, and my oldest daughter would always say, "Mom, I'm home." I'm on the phone with this individual wanting to sell him advertising throughout our region. And in walks my daughter, and she says, "Mom, I'm home," in the background. And he says, "Do you work from home?" And now this was way back in, the 90s, when it wasn't cool to have a home-based business. And I said, "Yes." And he hung up the phone.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
He hung up the phone.
Really?
Yes. And I called him back and he didn't answer. And I thought, well, you're lost. You just said no to advertising your business through our region because we had like 1.5 million circulations. So it's huge.
Are you still home-based now, or where are you
I was home-based
now?
for 20 years. Now
Okay.
I'm based out of a professional office. My daughter-in-law, for the longest time, my family worked for me. It's only been recent that I've actually hired people that aren't family. And when my daughter-in-law and my son were selling their home, they said, "Mom, it's time to get out of the basements." and it's been great. It's one of the best moves that we made. And I have an awesome core of employees. 2 are my daughters, and then I have a web developer she's from Kutztown University.
Oh, nice.
And my content writer for blogs and such, she's going to KU right now.
Oh,
So,
my God.
yeah.
That's so fun. What year is she here?
She is just in her freshman year.
Oh, well.
Yeah, she's
Maybe
just
you
a
can
baby.
send her over to KUR and she
That's
can have
right.
her little radio show.
Yeah.
An intern first, right?
Yeah, she was an intern
From
through
Hamburg
high school.
Yeah, Hamburg School.
Had no
Good.
clue what she wanted to do. Worked with us, and she that's how she decided. She loved what she did.
Nice. And what is your main role? What exactly do you do? A life in the day?
Well, if you go on
at
our
your
website,
job?
my name is Head my title is head honcho.
Okay.
That's what they have on the website. Don't believe that, because my daughter is actually a general manager, and she pretty much manages me. But I'm the marketing person. I get out and meet with the clients initially, and if they want to begin to work with us, then I introduce them to Kristen, who, if they're going to work on the website, or Casey or Annie when they want social media and content writing and whatnot. So, it's a nice team that we have.
Where can we find all this information? Do you have a website, a Facebook page, a phone number, an email?
Well, our website is, because interlaced communication is way too long a word, so we are ICIconnect.com, because we connect you. And our local number is 484-709-6564. And to get a hold of us, now this was my daughter-in-law's thing. She said, "Mom, I don't know how to explain interlaced communication," so we created an acronym. It's called GO, MAVA, for marketing assistants and virtual assistants, because that's what we are. So it's GOMAAVA.com. That's another way to find us as well.
All right.
So, yeah.
And are there any final thoughts or words you would like to announce?
Thoughts or words? Lori, go for it.
You know that I always have 2 or 3 concluding remarks
Perfect.
at
Love
minimum. Again, I want to say that coming up on the 28th is our 4th annual Shining Star Awards. This is a very exciting night. We have now sold well over 100 reservations for this annual dinner, and it's an opportunity not only to recognize members, business members, and nonprofit members, as Alyse was last year for Small Business of the Year and Member of the Year, but also an opportunity to hear a wonderful speaker, and Dr. G. Terry Madonna, who is a political pundit. He is an author, a professor at F&M University, very well known in the political world, particularly in central Pennsylvania and beyond. He was just recently quoted in a newspaper article in the Morning Call last week. He will be our keynote speaker. We are taking reservations up through September 26th, again, on our website at northeastberkschamber.com. And so we'd like to invite everyone to attend this event. You do not have to be a member to attend. Our events are open to the public. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It looks like you've got a lot of different events coming up, so everyone be sure to head on over to the website or shoot an email to sign up for those. Thank you both so much for coming in.
Yes.
It was good to see you again, Lori, and I'll be seeing you in 2 weeks with another guest.
I will be here on the 26th with Richard McFeely, who is a nationwide insurance agent, and he's from Flying Hills. We'll see him in 2 weeks.
All right. Thank you both so much for coming on this afternoon. And up next, we have our interview with Keystone. Here it comes. Good afternoon, and welcome to Kutztown Live, Kutztown University's campus and community talk show. I'm here with Jill Baker and Justin Sweitzer from the Keystone newspaper. Hello and welcome.
Thanks for having us on.
Would you like to tell the listeners what you do with the Keystone newspaper?
Okay, my name's Justin Sweitzer, as Juliana said, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Keystone newspaper.
I'm Jill Baker, and I am the news editor for the Keystone.
And what is your main reason for coming in this afternoon? Or what would you like the listeners to know about the Keystone newspaper?
Well, we just released our first issue of the semester. It came out on September 7th, and it's a 12-page issue, and it's the first of 5 that'll be released this semester. And there's a lot of good stuff in there that I think, is good for the campus community and the local community to know about. Jill, if you want to elaborate on some of the stuff that's in your section.
Well, in my section, I have an article about the first ever Unity Day that we had, as well as the upcoming task force that will be used to combat hate across campus.
All right, and where can we find a copy of the Keystone newspaper?
We have racks all across campus in just about every building, from the Student Union building here to Schaefer to Stratton to Old Main. And we really have a rack, at least one, in every single building on campus. So
all the academic buildings, as soon as you walk in, by the stairs or by the doors, you should see a rack that has the Keystone above it.
We also have them delivered to residence halls as well. So.
I did not know that. Who can write in the Keystone newspaper, or who can be a part of it?
Absolutely anybody. It doesn't matter, what your major is, what your interests are. There's a big, misconception that, it has to be English majors or professional writing majors or something like that. But it can be anybody. And we're always looking for new writers for every section, including news, sports, arts and entertainment, and opinions.
And how can you become a part of that?
It's pretty simple, honestly. All you have to do is email one of our 4 section editors of the sections that I just mentioned, and the email information is all online on our website at thekeystonenews.com.
And I know you mentioned that there are a few open positions going on. What are those positions?
Right. As of right now, we have our circulation manager position open and our advertising sales manager. And basically the circulation manager is in charge of distributing our newspapers across campus, mainly through campus mail, and they supervise our different staff members delivering bundles of newspapers to the racks in the buildings that we talked about.
And I think you mentioned this before, but where is the Keystone office located?
The office is in MSU room 194.
And how can we get in contact with anyone about that?
You can reach out to us in a bunch of different ways. We have our Facebook page. We try to keep up on there and keep people informed. All of our email addresses are listed on our website, and you can also email the Keystone News at kutztown.edu. And our meetings are every single Monday at 6 p.m. in the room that Jill mentioned. So anybody's welcome to come stop by. You can talk to staff about how you'd like to get involved. And, there are a lot of other ways to get involved other than just writing. I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Jill. Jill's giving me some wide eyes here.
I don't know what you want me to say.
We're always looking for photographers in addition to writers. We also have assistant positions available for all of our paid staff member positions. So that ranges from, editing our different sections to graphic design, to business and finance and advertising. Basically, we'll look to get anyone involved in however they'd like. We're always open to new ideas and new proposals.
And is there a new edition of the newspaper every month or every week, or how does that work?
We're tri-weekly, so every 3 weeks we'll have an issue come out. Our next issue will come out on September 28th.
And what types of things are in the newspaper?
I think it varies section to section. So the news typically will just have news, opinions, and then arts and entertainment is anything from like album reviews to KU Presents reviews that are on campus, and sports is obviously anything sports related that happens on campus.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are there any final thoughts or words you'd like the students of Kutztown here to know about the Keystone?
I just, want to urge people to get involved. We're always looking to have new people. We've brought a bunch of new people on board this semester so far, which is pretty awesome. And, we're always just looking to grow our club and grow our presence on campus.
This coming semester, we're going to have a lot of new open positions, so we're hoping that people want to reach out and get involved.
Yeah, we have a lot of people graduating or, leaving for internships at the end of the semester. So we'll have a lot of paid positions available for students to, get involved with.
So you get paid to be a part of the Keystone?
Yes, the executive members, the executive board members are all paid. So there's 14 positions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll need a lot more next semester also?
Right. And they're always up for election at the end of the semester. So it doesn't matter if people are leaving or if people aren't. If someone's qualified and, the executive board thinks they'd be a good fit, they could get, voted in right away.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for stopping in this afternoon.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you. And we will be right back with more of Kutztown Live. Hello, and welcome back to Kutztown Live, Kutztown University's campus and community talk show. I'm your host, Juliana Jablonski, and I'm here with the host of Radio Broadway here on KUR, Kim Winters. Her show is on Thursdays at 12:30 to 2 in the afternoon, but she is here now to speak to us about the Shoofly Literary Magazine. Hello, Kim, and thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So, would you like to start off by telling us what exactly the Shoofly Literary Magazine is?
All right. So I like to split it into a couple different parts. Every April, we release a magazine, which is full of student work. So that's short fiction, poetry, a couple of drama pieces, and even the cover is made by a Kutztown University student artist. And on the other hand, it's a club too, right? So we're the ones who are fundraising for the magazine, doing all the PR stuff, like, going on KU Live.
Oh, yeah.
And also we're the ones who are sorting through all the submissions that come in November and deciding what goes in the book, copy editing, and just generally making sure that we have a really gorgeous publication every year.
And so I know you're looking for people to submit things for this literary magazine. What should people be submitting and where to, and how should they go about doing all of that?
All right. So the submission deadline is November 20th. That's within a week or so of Thanksgiving. I'd need to double check, but somewhere around there. And essentially, you send your pieces to Shoofly at kutztown.edu. And within the email, tell me the names of all the pieces you're sending in. And tell me if it's fiction, poetry, or drama. 90% of the time I know. Every now and again, somebody sends in like a prose poem or something. Maybe I'm not so sure. And really, you don't have to do much more than that. Every piece should be in its own Word document. That Word document should not have your name on it, but it should have the title of the piece. And let me think about this. Okay, so 3 pieces, tops.
Per person?
Per person,
Okay.
Yep. Not per magazine. That would be a very strange magazine. So it'll be 3 pieces per person submitting. And I believe it's 3,500 words. Okay, so here's the thing. One of those pieces can be as long as you like. It might not necessarily get in if you submit me your novella or what have you. Or we might talk to you and we might say, hey, you know what? We'd kind of like to take a piece of this and just take a sample of it and put it in the magazine. Mm-hmm. But still, you can do as long as you like. I think we actually had a 30-page piece or something like that get into the magazine last a couple of years back, actually. So that can totally happen. The other 2 pieces, I believe the limit is 3,500 words. Okay. So still enough to get in a pretty decent short story. And if you're doing poetry or something like that, pretty much you can go hog wild. 3,500 words is a lot.
Yes.
And same thing with drama too. Pretty much anyone who's taken that intro to creative writing course, a lot of you guys probably did a 10-page drama piece. And that should fit within the word count. So there's a lot of flexibility there.
Okay. And I know Kim here gave me a copy of the Shoofly from last year to take a look at, and the cover of it is super duper cool. And there is a contest for the cover. Would you like to talk a little bit about the cover contest?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so every year we put out a cover contest for Shoofly Literary Magazine. And if you want the submission guidelines, either you can drop by Lytle. There's a big table right outside the English department where we have information on submitting either your written works or submitting for the cover contest. Or you can just shoot me an email at shoofly at kutztown.edu. That's SHOOFLY at kutztown.edu. And this cover contest, honestly, is really underused because, guys, this is an awesome opportunity to get your work out there. These are absolutely gorgeous covers we put out each year. It's professionally published. We're publishing over 1,000 magazines. And oftentimes we'll only get maybe 3 or 4 people submitting. So if you put your hat in the ring, you've got a pretty good chance. Mm-hmm. Now, the submission deadline is November 29th, and I'm not sure exactly what the timeline's going to be for choosing this year, but I would expect to hear back by the end of January at the very latest. So we're always looking for artists to do this. I know that the artist from last year, I'm just going to give her a little shout out, Mackenzie Delp, gorgeous job. And we have a lot of variants too. Pretty much our only requirement for the cover is don't put flies on it. Because apparently we had a bit of a repetitiveness issue for a few years, but we've had some very abstract pieces. We've had pieces that are kind of hand-drawn but put onto the computer later. We've had pieces that are a little more cartoony. So it's really a chance to go pretty much as crazy as you want and have a really good shot of having that splash all over campus.
Okay, and talking about that, where on campus will we be able to pick up a copy of this?
All right, so that depends a little bit on the time of year. Regardless of when you're looking, you want to head over to that table right in Lytle, right outside the English department office. Big table, usually has Shoofly, Essence, all those student publications. Now, anytime there's an event like the Involvement Fair, which happened a few days ago, we're always going to have a bunch of copies of the previous years and also some older years as well. Additionally, when we publish, which tends to be late April, we leave books everywhere. So we have a huge launch party, and we literally will have a pyramid of books during that. So certainly you can pick it up there, mingle with some of the authors and their families and whoever else is hanging around, usually half the English department. But you can definitely pick it up there. But afterwards, we take that big pyramid of books, what's left of it, and we spread it out over by the Starbucks in the Bear's Den. Or we'll take a bunch over to Old Main. We'll leave a box or two at the library. Or even some of the stores in town tend to have some books around. So in that late April, early May period, we should be pretty much everywhere.
All right, so we'll keep an eye out for that later this spring. And if we want to become a part of the Shoofly Literary Magazine, where can we go for meetings or how can we join?
All right. So my number one suggestion there would be to send me an email. Email shoofly@kutztown.edu to find out when the next meeting is. Because while we do meet Thursday at 11 a.m., 90% of clubs on campus, it's not every Thursday.
Okay.
So I would say contact that email. It tends to be Thursday at 11 a.m., Lytle 204. And also, come to think of it, this week is our first meeting. So if you want to check us out and find out a little more about us, definitely show up because we're always looking for people.
All right. And is there any Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram type page that we can follow to get some more information?
All right. Yes, I will do the required plugging.
All right.
Okay. So our Facebook page is Shoofly Literary Magazine at Kutztown University. Our Twitter is at KU Shoofly. And while I'm sure we have a few websites floating around, none of them are actually active at the moment. So I wouldn't necessarily trust them. It's every 2 or 3 years, somebody gets this great idea that they're going to make a website for Shoofly, and then nobody ever updates it.
Don't keep up with it.
It just becomes this sad, mummified creature.
All right. Well, are there any final thoughts or things you would like to say to the students of Kutztown here about this magazine?
All right. Well, first of all, just submit. Trust me. Maybe you're nervous. You're going, I don't think I'm very good at this. I don't really know if I'm that good of a writer. Trust me. There's someone who's half as good, but twice as confident. They're submitting. They're getting in the book. Just throw your hat in the ring. Honestly, maybe 5 or 6 people are going to read it. And you don't even need to know if they liked it or not. And you might get published, which is completely fantastic. So by November 20th, send an email to shoofly@kutztown.edu. Also, and this is still kind of in the planning stages, we're talking about bringing in a former Shoofly member to host a poetry workshop. Her name is Kaylee Tedesco. She's a professor of writing, and she's published a couple of poetry books. And we'd really like to get her in probably late September, early October, and let her share some of her expertise for us. So if you're interested, again, always you can email, but hopefully we should have some posters around campus, or maybe a card being read by the radio station. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, this is a super cool opportunity. Even just looking through this, it's super cool to see people's names that I know. And I think it's free. The book is free. I couldn't even believe that.
Yeah, it's free. They're everywhere.
And so I think that's super cool and a great opportunity for a lot of students. And even to say that you were published in a literary magazine would be a super cool accomplishment for anyone. Well, thank you so very much for coming in to speak with us this afternoon.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always nice to chat about Shoofly.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll be back with more of Kutztown Live.
Like KUR, an award-winning radio station, on Facebook to receive exciting daily content delivered straight to your newsfeed. You'll discover diverse music, breaking news, and engaging student DJ content. Visit facebook.com/KUR1670 to join the fun. Remember to use hashtag KURadio on social media. We are the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR.
Hey, good morning, Mike. This is Pat.
Hey, Pat, how are you? This is Mike from Kutztown Radio. Thanks so much for talking to me.
Hey, my pleasure.
But I really appreciate you talking to me. Your name was given to me by our alumni office, and said you'd make a great interview. I didn't realize that you were a KU alum.
Yeah, many years ago.
What year, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I graduated in '66.
66. What'd you go to school for?
Art education.
Art education. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about the life of Pat Garrett. Who, I know of you, but some people who might not. Tell us a little bit about you.
Patrick Sickafus always had a musical background, playing in various bands and things like that, and made a couple trips to Nashville to record and some of my songs. And I ran into a guy named Alex Harvey, who was a Texas songwriter, and he said, what do you use as your stage name? And I said, well, my middle name is Henry, and sometimes we use the Pat Henry combo. Oh, God, he said, that's awful. I said, yeah, I know. He said, you need a cowboy name, something like Pat Garrett, or something that has a little zest to it and zip.
Right.
I said, okay, I'll be Pat Garrett from now on. So I started using Pat Garrett as my pseudonym and my professional name. And I've had a little success with it. I've had a few Billboard chart records.
Okay.
And that we put some records out in the 80s, and I got on the Billboard charts in the Hot 100.
Awesome.
So, been doing that, writing songs, and some of them are country songs mostly, and had a little success with it, but I never really concentrated solely on being an artist or writing songs, because I have several other businesses, But we used to play at Kutztown for some of their dances and things like that, and we had a great time doing that because we used to fill up the old Risley Hall, the gymnasium behind the cafeteria there. And I remember we got so many people in there for these dances and jam sessions. The floor used to go up and down.
Wow, that's neat. So what year was that? Like 60s, 1970s?
Yeah, in the somewhere between probably 63, 64, 65 in there. We did it for a while, because it kind of was the way I supported myself with some contributions from home.
Right.
But my spending money came through playing music and different gigs. We even played at the Kutztown Fire Company and
cool.
and things like that. in addition to playing at the college function things, we played at the Armory outside of Kutztown and had played dances there, and that was kind of our own deal. So we made a few bucks doing that too.
Yeah, so you're obviously a local entrepreneur. We'll get to talking about some of your other businesses shortly. But regarding music, just as recently as I believe one of the recent presidential elections, I think one of your songs was used, correct?
Yeah, it got a national release on Lofton Creek Records out of Nashville, and it got on the Billboard charts kind of all by itself, kind of quickly. It usually takes months to get on the charts, but this went bam right away because the station started playing it.
Now, speaking of, you mentioned a couple times about radio airplay. One thing that local people might not know about you is that you own, I think, 2 radio stations, right?
Yes, I do. One's in the Lebanon area, AM 1510, and one's in the Harrisburg area, which is 92.1 FM, WTPA.
Right.
And WTPArock.com is the address for that one.
Now, the AM station is a classic country station, correct?
That's correct, right.
All right, you've owned that one for quite a few years, right?
Oh, yeah. Quite a long time, 20-some years, I guess.
Wow. And the FM station, I believe you only purchased, what, in the past 5 or 10 years? I remember reading about.
Yeah, it's been about 4 or 5 years now.
So do you like rock music? I know you like country.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so you like rock music.
We started playing rock and roll in the early days when I got out of, maybe at the end of my college. I got into a band called the Triumphs, and we played at the Hamburg Center down there, the Field House. We played there as the Triumphs for about 4 years, and then wrote a couple of songs, and a record label out of New York picked up one of our songs and changed the name of our band from the Triumphs to Pat Farrell and the Believers.
Oh, wow.
So we had a couple of chart records with them, but of course, until you get top 10, nobody really hears of you, except in isolated places. You're a big deal in some little towns and here and there across the country.
Right.
But the rest of the world doesn't know you,
No, I'm a big radio guy. I'm a big lover of radio, and I just wanted to ask you what it's like to own a couple of local radio stations in this era of corporate radio. As you know, 90% of the radio stations out there are owned by some big company. But here's Pat Garrett, who owns an AM station and an FM station in Central PA, all local, live and local. How does that feel to you?
Well, it's kind of cool having radio stations, but radio stations require work. Not that I do much of that, because I have general managers at the station that command the sales force and so on and so forth. And it's tough, selling puffs of air is not an easy gig, but if it works for an advertiser to be on your station, they stick with you, which is a good thing.
Right.
And both the stations are in the black.
Good.
And we're not making a fortune, but it's not costing me any money to have them.
Good. Excellent. Now, your other thing is you own a pretty popular sheepskin shop up there in, what's that considered, Strausstown?
Yeah, we're at exit 19 off of Route 78, which is between Allentown and Harrisburg. And all I have to do is zip off the exit 19. We're right at the top of the ramp. I have this business up here for many years after I got out of Kutztown. I taught for 1 year, and then I discovered sheepskins and started selling just the kind of the fluffy long wool sheepskins in my gas station.
Right.
And that developed into I bought various types of skins, and sometimes I would buy skins with holes in them or pieces missing, but the parts of the skins were excellent quality, So I started making vests out of those and started selling the vests. And one day a guy bought a special vest that was longer, and he came back next year and said, could you put a collar on my vest? And I said, yeah, I guess so. And then he came back the next year. He says, "Do you think you could put sleeves in this thing?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I guess I could figure it out." So it turned out I figured it out. I bought a pattern, a simplicity pattern, as a matter of fact, at a dress store, and put sleeves in the vest. And then I figured, well, gee whiz, now with sleeves and a collar, we need pockets. So I figured out how to do that,
Yeah.
And ended up figuring out that it's a profitable thing to make sheepskin coats. So
Yeah.
I've been making them for 45 years.
Excellent. Now, yeah, I'm familiar with that location there. Is that motel that's attached? Is that part of your business as well too?
Yeah, that was the whole thing here belongs to me now because it was my family's, and I bought them as things became available. And the sheepskin shop is right in front of the motel, so we rent that from here too. And,
wow. So you really are an entrepreneur, musician, motel guy, radio guy, sheepskin guy, and any other businesses that I'm missing here along the way?
Well, we have on our northwest corner of the intersection, I have the Pat Garrett Amphitheater.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
For 10 years, I ran that myself. Well, me and my wife ran it, and we had great acts in there like George Jones and Charlie Daniels, Tanya Tucker, Loretta Lynn, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and a bunch of other country acts too. And we had a lot of fun doing that, but it turns out it's a lot of work too. So I got tired of busting my chops, and the amphitheater, it's a beautiful bowl that faces the Blue Mountains, and people would come and say, "Wow, this is really cool." But when it rained, it's an outdoor venue, so it became tough. And the last year I did it, I had 3 sizable name acts, and it rained for all 3 shows.
Wow.
My wife says, "Why are we doing this?" I said, "I don't know. we don't need to do it anymore. We'll just take our band and play at other places and let them do all the grunt work, and we'll just enjoy playing music." So that's what we're doing now. PatGarrett.com, if folks want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Sheepskin business is sheepcoat.com, if anybody wants to see that.
So you're not actively operating the amphitheater right now?
Well, actually, I have a fellow that's leasing the amphitheater, and he does 4 or 5 shows a year over there.
Mm-hmm.
He's been bringing a group called Get the Lead Out, which is a Led Zeppelin tribute band.
Okay.
For the past several years, and the crowds have been pretty good for that. And he's been doing things like that, some rock and roll shows, and folks can see that at pgamp.com.
Cool.
Garrett Amphitheater, it would be pgamp.com.
So kind of running everything in full circle, because I know you're a busy man and I don't want to hold you much longer. Getting back to your education at Kutztown University, would you say that Kutztown University kind of helped you along the way?
Well, in the garment business, you have to have an eye for design and so forth. So things have to be appealing. And I learned some of that at Kutztown, an eye for balance and good design. So I have to give credit to Kutztown for that. And also, I learned that people in the art department had their projects judged by a jury system.
Mm-hmm.
They picked out the ones they liked the best and put them up front, and the ones that are just okay got in the middle, and the ones that weren't so good got at the end. So you were judged by the jury system and graded by the jury system. And I'll tell you what, people were really aggressive and wanted to be up top. So I found out that the world is a pretty aggressive place, and you got to get in there and fight if you want something. So
Yes, and I don't know if you've been down here recently, but in the past couple of years, the art center has been totally remodeled, and it's really beautiful. So
I haven't been back there very much other than just driving through town. I guess I should come back and check things out.
Yeah, come on down. You're not that far. And if you're down here, let me know, and I'll give you a tour of the radio station as well, too.
Oh, I'd like that. That'd be fun.
Hey, Pat Garrett, I want to thank you so much for talking to me. I know you're a busy man, so I'll let you go, but really informative and fun interview. I really appreciate it.
Well, good. Stop by the sheepskin shop if you're traveling on Route 78 between Harrisburg and Allentown sometime at exit 19, and come on in, we'll have some coffee.
Hello, and welcome to Kutztown Live, Kutztown University's campus and community talk show. I'm your host, Juliana, and we spoke to Lori Donofrio-Galley of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce earlier this morning, and she had a special guest along with her, Alyse Mitten from Interlaced Communications, and then we spoke to Keystone Magazine, and then we also spoke to Kim Winters from the Shoofly. And then there was Pat Garrett talking to Mike Regensburger. Here with me now is George Fladeland. Hello, and how are you today?
Doing well. Glad to be back here on the air again.
That's good. That's good. We're just looking over some future events and things that will be coming up here on campus. I know most coming up or most soon. I don't even know how to say that.
Yeah.
Coming up is the football game this Friday. If you want to Saturday. If you want to talk about that.
Saturday, yeah. Kutztown is coming into this one 1-1 on the year. Lost to Assumption, the home opener, 2 weekends ago, and then this past weekend they beat Mercyhurst, a team that they lost to last year. So they're doing better so far at the beginning of the season than they did last year. And it's looking like they're going to take this one against Seton Hill. It should be a really good game. Seton Hill lost last week to Millersville. Millersville isn't that strong of opponent in the PSAC, but anything can happen when they get out there on the gridiron. So looking to see another Golden Bear victory.
I don't know, how's our team doing so far this year? What do you see or expect?
Oh, team is looking great. Colin DeGalbo, the returning quarterback starter for the squad, he's looking pretty well. Craig Reynolds, he's the running back for the squad this year. Got second all time for single game record for most all-purpose yards in a game during the first game, and then in the second game he went for 2 touchdown scores against Mercyhurst all the way up in Erie. It's been exciting. My class actually films the home football game, so I'll be there Saturday on the sidelines with a camera.
That you take a bunch of videos and stuff for it. I think
of course.
Seen them.
Yeah. So it's looking like a good year, and last year they won the PSAC East, got to the PSAC championship, came up a little bit short against KU last year, but team's looking really strong despite a lot of seniors who graduated this past year. I
need to get out and see a football game. I've only been to one. In my going on 3 years that I've been here. So.
Well, Juliana, this Saturday is going to be a good game. It's going to be a really good game.
All right, maybe I'll have to stop by.
And our team is strong. Very good.
Sounds good. Also coming up next Saturday is Family Day. On September 23rd. Join us for a fun day of activities for the whole family. The day is built around our home football game for the day. There's a variety of activities for students, parents, siblings, and other family members before and after the game. I know if you go on over to the Kutztown University website, you can see a list of all the events that are scheduled for that day. I know the game is later that evening. I think it's at 5 o'clock. I'm not sure if you know who it's against or not for next Saturday, but that looks like it should definitely be a fun time. So make sure to come on out, tell your family and friends and sisters and brothers to all come on out for that afternoon.
Yeah, September 23rd, we're facing Millersville.
Oh.
That kickoff time is going to be 6:06 p.m. And like you said, it's going to be Family Day. And Kutztown sports is looking strong all over the board. We've got national rankings in the field hockey team. I believe they're 7th overall in the nation right now. And then also our cross-country teams. both 5th and 7th respectively for the men's and women's teams. And then women's soccer, I believe they're 4th in the nation right now. So Kutztown Athletics, got to go out to a game.
Wow.
We're very, very good this year.
I do. I always say I want to go see a rugby game. I always hear those are fun to see.
Oh, so much fun.
I've never gone to one. I need to go. I know.
You got to go to these things.
I don't go to sporting events, but I need to start going. And
You should.
repping for Kutztown.
Get out there.
I know. I need to. Some other events going on. Coming up next Monday is the famous Walks with Winnie with our president, Dr. Hawkinson, and his wife, Anne Marie Hayes Hawkinson, and their dog, Winnie. You can walk through campus and chat with them, and there are light refreshments provided at that. And if it is raining on those days, those walks will not happen. Looking at other world news, I guess I was talking today on my radio show about American Idol. Did you know it's coming back?
What?
American Idol is back for a new season, and they had a super duper hard time getting judges for the show, and right now they only have Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry's a judge. And when I said this this morning on my Kutztown's Country at 10 a.m. on Tuesday mornings.
Just a plug there.
Just a little bit. Have to do that. My aunt even messaged me that she's staying in Lancaster and practicing at the Lidditz Rocks studio. And she was at an Amish farm this weekend and went to Olive Garden and was out taking pictures and signing autographs for people. And apparently she was super duper nice. But I don't know.
She seems like a nice person.
Are you a Katy Perry fan?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah? Well, so I wonder, I don't know, what do you think? American Idol's going to be good or is it going to be horrible that they're trying to bring it back?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen that show in years. I mean, America's Got Talent has really taken over that kind of, that show time and that kind of niche of an audience trying to get together and see how amateurs can do well on a national stage. So,
I don't know.
I think it'll be all right.
We'll have to see. Well, our time has come to a close here. It is now 4 o'clock, and we have